So now you figure after 30 years of kicking ass, the bad guys will figure out you just can't mess with Tom Cruise. And with that, I'm welcoming you to another episode of the Romantic Room. My goal, as always, is to enhance your movie watching experience. So Jack Reacher, never go back unless it's in a sequel, of course. Of course, Tom Cruise returns to the titular character of Jack Reacher. And now I love Tom Cruise. I love most of the stuff that he does. I've been watching him for a long time, since back in the mid 80s. His resume is top notch. He's probably one of the last few remaining true movie stars that we have now. And he's still one of the top action stars, which is surprising given he's 52, 53 years old, more or less. He proved that obviously with the Mission Impossible series recently. And of course, Edge of Tomorrow is another great movie which he had. Now, although I am a big Tom Cruise fan, I wasn't a huge fan of the first Jack Reacher. It was okay. It's the equivalent of, burgers and fries, a decent meal, forgettable, not gets the job done, but ultimately that's something you're gonna remember, really get excited about. So I wasn't really looking forward to the second one that much. I did like the trailers. And again, I do love Tom Cruise, so I figured, okay, let's give it a shot here. And again, it was burgers and fries, ultimately. It was a little better than the first one, so I guess it's a cheeseburger and fries for that matter. So Jack Reacher, of course, he's a military, ex-military badass, a former MP, a major was his last rank before he was discharged. And at the beginning of the movie, he's kind of giving him tips. He's been helping him out, and particularly he's been communicating with a current major now in DC, played by Cobie Smulders, who we see in the MCU now, of course, and she was in How You Met Your Mother. And she's actually a really cool character. She's not the typical damsel in distress. She's actually a good, tough, badass character herself. Not quite to level with Jack Reacher, but not bad. And she does hold her own, specifically against someone like Tom Cruise. We saw her recently with Roberta Ferguson in Mission Impossible 5. She isn't to that level, but she does a good job, and you do believe her role that she's in, which is something I was kind of afraid of. But she was fine, and one thing this movie didn't do, I think it was a cliche love story. Now these guys do kind of flirt around, but nothing much is made out of it, and that's a good thing. So now Jack Reacher is thrust back into action because Smulders' character has been charged and will be court-martialed for espionage. So now Jack Reacher, who also gets arrested, needs to find her, break her out of jail, and figure out who's trying to frame them both. Now, to add a little wrinkle, there's also we're introduced to a young 15-year-old who may be or may not be Jack Reacher's daughter. And it was a kind of a cool, interesting element to the movie because it actually added a lot of heart, which the first movie was missing, particularly towards the end. And it gave a different dynamic as he's trying to, evade the MPs, and of course, there's a secret organization trying to take them both down. He's actually trying to protect not only himself and Smulders' character, but his potential daughter as well. So that adds a different dynamic, which is pretty cool. And I thought that's something that was really missing in the first movie. Now, also, I like a little bit more than the first Jack Reacher. I think it was a tighter story, a little more focused. The first one was kind of a little over the place. The one drawback I always say is actually the action. The first one was better. The action here was kind of toned down, which is surprising because in the sequel, usually things get turned up to the level 10. But here, not. There wasn't a great action piece per se. Most of the times they're just running around for the most part. It's not boring by any stretch of the imagination, but just not great action. It's just okay. I like the last fight scene, of course, the climactic fight scene, but ultimately it doesn't give you a whole lot. It's an okay movie. Again, it's a cheeseburger and fries. It's one you probably see and forget about it. Now, ultimately, I can't give it a high recommendation. If you like the first Jack Reacher, you're probably going to really like this one. If you didn't like it, you're not going to like this one. If you were just kind of in the middle, much like I was, you're probably better off watching this when it comes out on video, VOD, or Netflix, or whatever the case is. I wouldn't exactly tell you guys to rush out and watch it in the theaters. It's entertaining, don't get me wrong, but it's just okay. It's nothing special. I guess you walk out of the theater, and in 2 hours, you probably forget about it. So ultimately, you guys are going to watch Jack Reacher. You're biggest fans of Tom Cruise as I am. Comment below, let me know. And as always, subscribe below and feed money to go to the movies and talk about it afterwards. See you guys next time.